Hi everybody, it's Russ from My Hammers 11. I hope you're safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hit the bell notification so you're notified of any time I put new content on. Today's guest, well, you can see who it is already. It's Harry Redknapp. How you doing, H? How's things?
Good. That's all good. Thank you.
Thanks for doing this. Absolute pleasure. Really, it's really nice to talk to you. So the idea of the channel is we talk about memories, really, usually with fans, but more with the players. And so, particularly for the younger fans, the less experienced fans, the idea is to sort of find out a bit more about the older players, for example. And obviously,
Yeah.
A lot of people know you, obviously, the manager's role, which we'll talk about. But obviously, you started as a 15-year-old schoolboy in 1962.
Sure.
How did that start? Because obviously you were at Spurs schoolboys beforehand. Why move?
I was never at Spurs. People always say that. I used to try. What happened in them days?
Yeah.
Right, same as it does. I had a choice of clubs really. 11 years of age, I sort of was trained at Tottenham, Chelsea. Having a look round. And once I went to West Ham, and Ron Greenwood was just. We used to go and watch. They used to invite the parents and the kids to watch the youth team games, and it was Ron Greenwood was at every game. He was just amazing. He was at every youth game. He was so interested in the young players and the youth team. It was almost as important to him as the first team, and we found that amazing. And when I left school, we decided that West Ham was the best club for me to join, and so. I went there and I signed. I signed the same time as Colin Mackworth, the goalkeeper, who came from East London, and Billy Kitchener, left back. Bill came from Bedfordshire, and we all signed at the same time, 15. And our first year at the club, with 3 15-year-olds, we won the FA Youth Cup, which is incredible, really, when you think about it. We were only kids. We were 15, 3 of us. And it's under 18 and a half competition. There's 19-year-olds in it. Wow. And it was the competition. Everybody, the FA Youth Cup was the thing to win. Yeah. And to play every game as we did, the 3 of us all at 15 years of age, and win it, it was amazing, really. We had a great youth team. And that was a great time, that first year playing in front of 15, 18, 25,000 people at Upton Park. The final was, we played Liverpool in the final. We went to Liverpool and got beat 3-1. The great Tommy Smith played for them. Wow. We came back home for the second leg, 3-1 down. It was cup final night. Big crowd, Upton Park, lovely warm evening. Yeah. Place was buzzing. We were 2-1 down at half time. So now we're 5-2 down on aggregate at half time in the second leg. We came out second half, we scored 4 goals. It was one of the great games. It was an amazing night. Ron Greenwood was in tears, and he was so chuffed, He even came to a youth game, once when we played against Wolves, rather than going with the first team. I mean, it was amazing. He had that much. He knew the future, he always thought the future of the club is in the kids. And I took that on. When I became a manager, that was my philosophy. The kids were the most important thing. I never missed a youth game. Every Saturday morning, the first team were at home. I would go to Chadwell Heath, watch the first half of the South East Counties game, watch 15 minutes of the second half, jump in my car. Frank Lampard Senior would do the same. We'd whiz to Upton Park, get there, get prepared for the first team game. But we never missed a youth game. And every youth cup game, Southern Junior Floodlight Cup, we travelled all over the country, went to Oldham, went to Everton, went everywhere to watch Liverpool. We had a great youth team. Obviously, the team that when I was a manager, incredible group of kids. Yeah, exactly. 6 of them all wanted to play for England.
Yeah, I know. Well, we had Tony Carr on a couple of days ago, that team was incredible. And then obviously you made your debut in '65, I think it was. You scored in the end of that season, '66 away to Tottenham, and '66 was a good year, wasn't it? I think we won. So I think England won. Yeah. I heard it mentioned like once or twice. Yeah.
I watched the game the other night, actually.
It was.
It still brings a tear to my eye when I see Bobby going up to get the trophy.
Yeah. What was it like? Like obviously, because you was obviously in the first team, and that sort of that first training session when they were all back from the World Cup must have been like amazing. Like a weird thing.
They never had any side to them. They were never big time Charlies.
Yeah.
They were just, incredible boys, all three of them, and three fantastic footballers. And England, West Ham won the World Cup that day. 3 goals from Geoff, 1 from Martin, Bobby the captain.
Yeah.
It was just a fantastic day for the football club, really. And wherever we went in the world on tour, in them days, going to America was somewhere that no one had ever been.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're going on tour to America because we had the 3 boys in the team. We'd go to Germany and play pre-season games and get massive crowds because we had 3 World Cup winners in our team. It was we were the team really that people abroad wanted to see, because of the boys.
Yeah, no, I get that exactly, and obviously at that period, obviously you played 175 times across like a 10-year period. Obviously, you left and came back in '92 as assistant manager. How did that happen in terms of coming back? Because obviously, you'd been away for for a while, and you came back in at '92.
I was I had 10 years at Bournemouth.
Yeah,
Bournemouth. I went into a championship for the first time in the city in the club's history. Had a great time at Bournemouth, really. I just felt I'd run my time there, really.
Yeah.
I'd been in 1990, I had a terrible car accident in Italy, lost my best pal, who was the chief executive at Bournemouth, Brian Tyler. And it was never the same for me after that. It was very difficult. Brian, he was so important to me as a young manager. And to have a car accident when he lost his life, I just never felt the same. I came back and... So when the opportunity came to go back to West Ham, it was something I decided to do.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, then after that, obviously, you took over in '94. 7 years, 7 seasons in charge, or near enough. That ain't bad now, is it? Nowadays, you don't get if you get 3 seasons out of a manager, you've done well.
No relegations.
Yeah,
no relegations. Which 7 years for a West Ham manager. Let's be honest about it. Is everybody had their share. Ron never got relegated, did he, Ron Greenwood?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. John was John was fantastic, John Lyle, but John had relegations, didn't he?
Yeah.
And since then, obviously, when I left, Glenn Roeder took over, they got relegated.
Yeah.
And they've had years of up and down, but it's still a fantastic football club.
Yeah, no, exactly. And but that period, I mean, for me, Harry, that was that your helm, so to speak, that 7 years was I think. Well, for me, for obviously a youngish, we'll say, semi-experienced fan, was an amazing time. Obviously from a stats perspective, it's the highest ever Premier League finish for us. We won the Intertoto Cup as well, first time qualified for Europe.
That's a great day, to go there and win that. But look at the players we had. I mean,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
We suddenly had these kids come out the youth team, and then you got Di Canio come in. Freddie Canuti, it was, and if the club had kept the 6 boys, all 6 of them went on to win everything there was to win almost. A few of them won Champions League winners. Look at the quality of them: Frank Lampard, Rio Ferdinand, Joe Cole, Michael Carrick, Jermaine Defoe, Glenn Johnson. 6 incredible footballers. Every one of them. And proper England international with loads and loads of caps to their name. And if you'd have had that 6 and built around them, where could the club have gone? It would have been incredible. It would have been
incredible. And as you said, not on top of that, obviously you had the influx from the academy, but as you said, you had Paolo and we had some really good, and it was brilliant. It was one of those times where I think, fans like to be entertained, don't they? And it's like, I know West Ham say about the West Ham way, but it was that period of time where you turn up and you didn't know what was going to happen. And I think that was, you know what I mean? You had players
like Old Berkovitz. Old Berkovitz was an incredible footballer.
Yeah.
You had big John Hartson came with Paul Kitson and got the goals that first year, that kept us up. Just good Trevor Sinclair, England international. It was Slaven, Mark Reaper, it was full of real quality players. Julian Dix came back to the club, It was an amazing Steve Lomas, full of quality players, really,
And also characters as well, which I think we miss in the game. Sort of every one of them you said is a character, and fans could relate to. You know what I mean? So even
Johnny Moncur,
exactly.
What a good player John was, Martin Allen, Mad Dog. I mean, he was a character. But no, they were great.
Yeah, they were good fight, and it just, and out of all your transfers, Harry, for West Ham, obviously everyone says Di Canio and stuff, but was that your best is that the one you was your best transfer? So I know you can't really quantify it, but what would you say was like your best transfer in that period? Best player
Well,
you brought
probably the
in?
boldest one was probably taking Paolo, because
Yeah.
I mean, no one wanted to touch him.
No.
And when I decided to take him, I remember reading a Sunday newspaper that said, I'm signing Di Canio and I'm walking a tightrope with no safety net under me, and for sure he'll get me sacked. And it was a massive gamble. Nobody else saw it except me. The chairman at the time, Terry Brown, he wasn't happy about me signing him, really, although he backed me out, which was great. But I think, he looked at it and thought, he's pushed the referee over, he's volatile, do we need this, But I used to watch him play, and whenever I went to play at Sheffield Wednesday with West Ham, you'd be scared every time he got the ball. I used to say it, once they get in our third of the pitch, somebody, the nearest man, latch onto him and don't leave him until we win the ball back, because once he got it, anything, he could do incredible things, He was a genius, really. Amazing footballer.
Yeah, he really was. He was a great player. Now, look, what we try and do, Harry, is we try and do an 11. So what we do is with all the players and the fans, we do an 11. Now, I know we've got like 20 odd minutes, but what I want to try and do is do 2 11s for you, because I don't think it's fair to do an 11 combined of your time at West Ham. I'd like to do an 11 of you of your playing days and your managing days, if we can zoom. Because I think they're 2 different eras. It wouldn't be fair comparing Bobby Moore with Rio Ferdinand. People do, but you know what I mean. So
we're right together, them two.
Yeah, they would do a blinding job. Right, so let's go with the playing 11. Who would be in goal for the Redknapp playing 11? So during your time at West Ham when you play him,
as a player,
yeah.
Well, really, I mean, I only had there've been who played there. Bobby Ferguson was the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Jim Standard was there before that, but I never really, Jim was just a little bit before me.
Yeah.
So, I'd go with Bobby Ferguson.
Yeah, put Bobby Ferguson.
Great Bobby, good keeper.
Yeah.
Small, when you look at him now.
Yeah, I saw pictures of him, yeah.
Amazing size, the goalkeepers in them days were 5'10". Pat Jennings is only 5'11".
Wow.
Pat Jennings is not a big man. People don't realise, Pat's not as tall as me. You stand next to Pat Jennings, you don't realise, he's just an incredible keeper, but everyone thinks he was 6'5" or something. He wasn't,
Easy. Yeah, absolutely great. Yeah, but it's funny now because actually now in the modern day they're all 6'5" and skinny, and it changes sort of the athleticness of it. Right, we'll put
this out because I hadn't thought about this, Russ. I'll be honest, you're hitting me right off the top, and so it's difficult. Thinking of a team.
Well, we just talk about the players you play with. Now, don't worry about a team for the play. Just talk about the players. Obviously the teams you play with in the sort of your time playing for West Ham.
I played with was Bobby Moore.
Yeah.
Bobby was the best player ever to play for West Ham. Bobby was on another level. He was just incredible, man.
Mm.
He was. There never been anyone like Bobby. He was not only a fantastic player, he was an absolute class act.
Mm.
Everybody looked up to him. Everybody loved him. Everybody idolised him. No matter where you went, you'd meet England players, whether it was Norman Hunter, who we kept at the England team. Norman would absolutely idolise Moro. Alan Ball, Nicky Shannon. I talk. When you say, "Hey, what was he like, Moro? How good was he? How classy was he? Yeah, he was just pure class.
Yeah,
there was no one could come near Bob.
No,
we had some great players. You had Geoff and Martin. You had Billy Bonds was an incredible player. Bill would cover every inch of ground. I think Bill would have got plenty of England caps if he'd have played right back.
Mm.
I think if he'd have played right back, he'd have played for England many, many times.
Really?
But he started at right back, then he got shifted into midfield, and he would cover the ground in midfield and run and chase and work and close down, and just incredible athlete.
Yeah.
Every week, But I think if he'd have played right back in today's football, he'd have been absolutely incredible with that ability to run all day and get up and back and strong and athletic. He'd have been an incredible right back. Trevor Brooking was an amazing footballer.
Mm.
Trevor could play no touch. He'd let the ball run. He had this amazing ability to open his body up, and he wouldn't touch it. He'd come into him and he'd let it run and take two people out of the game without even touching the ball. Great player.
Yeah.
In that team, Budgie Byrne, who I had the end of Budgie. Budgie was incredible. What a centre forward, Budgie Byrne.
Yeah.
You know, one of the all-time great. Budgie was Jimmy Greaves. You talk about great players. Greaves, he was a genius, a pure genius. We had Jimmy at the end, but Jimmy in his heyday was one of the all-time the greatest goal scorer I've ever seen. He was special, Jimmy. Full of good players and good lads, and you know, we had a great time. We all came from the same area.
Yeah,
we all came probably within 10-mile radius of West Ham football ground, Barking, Dagenham, Poplar, Canning Town. You know, that's what we were. We were all local boys, and we didn't have any foreign players. We didn't even have if we signed 2 Scots players, Bobby Ferguson and John Cushley, and they were like foreigners to us. We had never had anyone. Everyone came. We was all local boys, and we all were mates, and we all got on great, and we'd all go out drinking together. We'd all go to the Black Lion after a game in Glasgow. We'd all be in the Black Lion pub by 6 o'clock, 5:45 on a Saturday night, having a drink. Music would be going. I mean, it was that's how it was. But we all loved each other. We all got on well together. It was a great camaraderie between us all. You know, it was a great club. And the manager was a genius, Robbie.
Yeah.
But he was the best football coach I'd ever seen. I've still never seen anybody who could come near him.
Wow.
You know, he was so forward thinking. You know, things that he did. You know, I watched the goal the other day. Bobby put the ball down from the free kick against Germany. He puts the ball down. He's thinking, Geoff, come on, you know. Jeff's pulling, and Geoff pulls away from the defender. And the defender, where is he? Suddenly Hursty's come across him from nowhere. Bobby drops it into that space. Hursty's on it, bang, back of the net.
Yeah.
You know, that was something we worked on at West Ham, near post crosses, overlapping, attacking fullbacks, making 2 against. That was all Ron Greenwood. That was Ron.
That's sort of standard now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but he changed all them things. Fullbacks used to stay on the halfway line and never moved. And when the ball was on the other side of the pitch, they'd cover around 40 yards. Yeah. And so that the winger on that side, and suddenly it changed. Fullbacks were going forward, became more dangerous than wingers. You know, he was such a clever footballing brain. Just football, that was his life. Football. You know, he was an amazing football coach.
And I mean that, and obviously having that as your stewardship, so to speak, in terms of going into being a manager yourself, you had like, as I said, one of the best managers ever as your mentor, really, in terms of taking. This is taking obviously
he got us all working in schools.
Oh, okay.
So 18, 17, we all used to go into the schools coaching the kids. £2.50 an afternoon. I went to Harold Road School first off Green Street there. Then I went to Forest Gate School, and then I ended up at Pretoria School in Canning Town with Frank Lampard Senior School. That was his school.
Yes.
And we shared a job, me and Frank. And John Bond was out of work, John had lost his job at Gillingham or somewhere, Gillingham. And so we end up sharing the job with John. So me, Frank and John used to go and coach the kids at Pretoria School every afternoon. So me and Frank, instead of getting £10 a week each, we split it 3 ways. So we all end up with, I don't know, whatever goes into 20, £6, whatever. So we end up with £6 something a week, you know?
Yeah.
But we did that every afternoon, £2.50 an afternoon. Can you imagine it? It's incredible, isn't it?
It is. I mean, even
we loved it. We did it because we loved it. We loved it.
Of course.
Didn't have to do it. We loved being with the kids and coaching and being involved with football. And then the other biggest coaching, there's more coaching went on in Kazatari's Caf in, around the corner from the Boleyn than anywhere. I mean, in the early days, you know, Malcolm Allison, Noel Campbell, John Bond, Dave Sexton, Jimmy Andrews, Frank O'Farrell, Kenny Brown. I mean, they went on, all become managers of the highest level, all work sitting in there. Malcolm was the governor, moving pepper pots about, talking tactics to the, what if they did this? How would we cope with that? And it was incredible, you know. That's what they did in the afternoon, sit there till 5 o'clock at night, drink 20 cups of tea, you know. Kazzy would come in, another cup of tea, bring another pot of tea. Get another pot of tea, Kazzy,
Yeah.
And it was, amazing times.
It's as you said, there was this sort of, you're right, they all became these top managers and top coaches, and it all stemmed from, obviously the love of the game with what Ron had, and it seemed to impart it into everyone else. And as you said, as being in charge of West Ham, he said that maintaining that sort of youth team ethos, because you had this incredible conveyor belt of talent from the academy. I mean, was it a third of that 2010 England World Cup squad came through the academy, including Terry and people like that as well. I mean, you had this.
Yeah.
It must have been. I mean, for a manager, obviously, it must be so much. It must be so much.
But
so useful.
we did go probably 11 years without really producing a player.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a real spell where only one or two players had a few games, but it was since Stevie Potts, Tony Cottee, Paul Ince, since that group, there was a big void, of nothing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly 6 kids come along that all went on to become England internationals. So it's amazing how it turned out,
It did.
But they were great times. Tony Carr did a great job. Peter Braybrook was fantastic. Peter worked with him. Lulu, she wants her dinner, I think. Lulu. Peter Braybrook. I brought Peter back. Peter was one of my favourite people of all time. I love Peter. And Peter worked with Tony for the kids. Jimmy Frith was there. He's still there. Jimmy Frith at the club.
Yeah.
Part of the furniture. Great man, Jimmy.
Lovely guy. So
all lovely people. It was a lovely feel about the club.
Yeah. And it just said the result. The football was good, and as I said, obviously, when Di Canio came in, I mean, obviously we asked fans their 11s, and unsurprisingly, pretty much Di Canio's in most of the team. What was it like to manage? What was it like to manage the man?
It wasn't easy. He was every day was a tester.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great athlete. Looked like didn't drink. Now you mixed him in with a few of the lads who were certainly Razor Ruddock and one or two of them, and it wasn't easy. Yeah. Lulu, shut up. Hey, want your dinner? Come on. Hey, look what I got. Hey,
come here, Lulu.
Lulu. Barney's a kip under the table. We don't care.
I'm starting a new section called Footballers and their dogs, because I've had McAvenny's Doberman walk into shot. I've had Paul Brush's. He must have a cocker spaniel. Leroy Rossini's dog yesterday. It's brilliant. It's so I love it. It's so funny.
Yeah. But no, I mean it was. And even, going back to the playing days. I mean, we used to. In the summer, when we were off, we used to meet up 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday night, whatever. In the summer, when we had a long break, and we'd put the coat. We'd go over at the Anal to by the golf course. It was a nice big flat piece of ground. We'd put the coats down, and we'd go over. There'd be about 14 of us, I suppose, and about 6 or 8 of our mates, and we'd have a game. We'd have a 9-10-a-side game. We'd play for 2 hours nearly. Then we'd all go around the retreat pub in Chigwell for drink after.
Yeah. I know.
If not, we get the training ground opened up. And we go in there and play. I mean,
it's crazy.
That was how it was.
But why do you think it is now? Because I don't think there's anyone in the modern game. There doesn't seem to be that sense of togetherness anymore. From a fan's perspective, it seems like
we all came from
the same area.
The heritage of West Ham. It was the history of West Ham. We all knew the club. We knew about all the great players that had been there, and Ernie Gregory and all these people. We knew them and we'd heard of them, and so it was part of it was very, very different. We were all local boys. I mean, they come now, the foreign players. I'd be lying if I said I even knew the names of all the players at West Ham anymore. I don't. I'd be a liar if I said I did. If you asked me to name their team, I couldn't name it. I couldn't. I don't. That's not being rude. I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's a different game now. Very, very different. We was all, it was all local boys, and it was very different. It was great. I wouldn't have swapped that time for this time, that's for sure. As a player,
No. The money
maybe. All come through the youth team.
Yeah, exactly.
Go through the team. Jackie Burkitt, Kenny Brown, John Bond, all that, Bobby, Ronnie Boyce, Eddie Bovington, Tony Scott, Brian Deere, they all come out the youth team. They're all youth team players. Johnny Citizens, everybody just came out the youth team. We didn't buy any players. We just produced players.
Yeah.
You came out the youth team, and 3 or 4 out of that team would end up in the first team.
Yeah. It's crazy nowadays, isn't it? You said, because everyone's so, it's so the way to go with football, isn't it? Just nurture the youth, because it's so much cheaper now. You think how much money in the game, and you've got a whole.
About we give the kids a chance. I think that is it's been proved this year at Chelsea.
Yes.
They had a transfer embargo, so they give the kids. They put the kids in. And they prove what they can do. Give them a chance.
Yeah.
All them kids that we had all played. They all got in the team very young. Rio, Frank, Joe, they was all in. Carrick, Michael, they all, Jermaine, playing. They all came into the team at young age and played. Yeah. So they knew, you knew they could give them the chance, let them go and do it.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And actually, probably that's the case now, because with so many games now, the Premier League's back up, in quick succession. You'll see it. And I think Man City yesterday, didn't they? They had Xavi Garcia, who's like 18, playing centre back. And I think that will be the case. You'll have a lot more kids playing because the games are coming so quickly.
Well, you hope so. You hope that we see young players but the teams at the bottom can't afford to do that.
No.
It's all right for Man City probably, but West Ham can't afford to do it. They're in a relegation battle along with 6 other teams, so they're going to be putting their best teams out. That's for sure. What they think are their strongest teams. I'll be surprised if they're throwing too many. Declan Rice has come out the youth team.
Yeah,
and look how good he is. Look how well he's done. It's fantastic.
Yeah. He is. I mean, he's a great player. Yeah. He says even people like Mark and people like Mark Noble and people like that.
Mark Noble is. If I owned West Ham, he'd be my manager one day. Mark Noble, I'd make him manager. He knows the club. He's West Ham through and through. He knows the fans. He knows what they want out of it. He understands the club. He'd be a perfect choice to be manager of West Ham one day.
Yeah,
down the line, start out working with the youth team, whatever reserves, and then gradually find his way in there. That would be great.
Yeah. I was talking to Kevin Keane the other day, and he's already trying to push him into doing the kids and stuff, because he's apparently a really good coach, Mark is. And but you've got a decision that it seems now with Moisey and the team he's brought together. He's got Kevin Keane, he's got Potsy, he's got Paul Konchesky, Carlton Cole. He does seem to be bringing together more of a old school approach. You know what I mean, to the youth setup, and I think it will hopefully pay dividends, as you said. But I totally get it.
Is Colton Cole doing a bit there?
Yeah, Paul Konchesky's doing a bit there. Zavon Hines is there.
Yeah.
And obviously you got Kevin Keane, Potsy's doing the 23s. And there's loads of people still hanging about. Obviously Jack did a bit. Jack Collison, and he's gone over to do Atlanta. And so, it seems there's like another wave, and I think it's the way that the West Ham boys definitely seem to be helping that.
People that understand the football club and the history of the club, and it's important.
It is important, because I just think you're right, Harry, in what you said. That you have to have that thread running through, and you had it when you in your playing days, and then you had it when your management days as well. And I think it proves it works. It proves it works. For sure. Definitely. Harry, look, I know you've got a few minutes until you got another call with Busy Man. Harry, look, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been lovely chatting to you. Absolutely lovely chatting to you. And obviously, thank you. And obviously, thank you to everyone who has been watching. Obviously, like, share. And obviously, until me and Harry, take care, everyone. Stay safe and good luck to everyone.
Yeah, good luck. Stay up this year.
Oh, we will. We will. I'm very confident.
I want them and Bournemouth staying up there, because I go and watch Bournemouth every week, so I live here. So it's my 10 minutes to get to the ground every week. I enjoy going, take my grandkids there. But my grandson Harry is West Ham Barmy, so he's got West Ham all over his bedroom. So the Hammers and Bournemouth staying up would be great. Yeah, I think we will. I think there are going to be some more teams. Oh, anyway, I think there's more teams. Anyway, H, thank you very much. Man. Nice talking to you. Have a great time. Thank you. Take care and good luck, mate. Bye-bye. Love to see you later, mate. Bye-bye.